Right guys and girls, Mark Coswood here, and I'm just finishing testing my brand new Srixon irons that aren't brand new, I'm pretending. And I'm going to talk to you about how the idea of you testing, how different it is from indoors to outdoors to when you play. And one of the most common things I've had all through my life of creating content is ideas of how can I make the ball good on the range, not on the course. Why is it when I buy a new set of clubs they feel great when I try them, I take them on the course, I don't see, there's no improvement, or I don't see what I was seeing inside. Let's show you why, and maybe give you some ideas of how to combat it when you go for your fitting, and make sure that your fittings aren't just a selling tool at you, but you're actually getting something from it. I'll show you what I mean. So I've hit a few irons, and I've chosen one I like, so I want to test it, okay? So you could say that, I've hit a Callaway and a Ping and a Titleist and everything, and I've come to a shape and a feel and a price bracket maybe that I want to buy into. This video isn't about one manufacturer being better than another. It's more about the ideas of understanding what you're actually testing or not, which often is still quite misunderstood. And I do think, let me just hit a few 7 irons here, get the data going. Maybe post comments down below. I do still think that custom fitting at the moment is one of the most, and I'm going to get hate for this, but I've got to say it because it is true and I do feel it, and I know lots of you feel it. So we can all not say the truth and just be friends, and remember to subscribe, hit the thumbs up button, and let's all, anyway. Custom fitting is definitely still the most cowboy out of all of the genres of the golf industry that's out there at the minute, in my opinion. I'm not saying there isn't brilliant custom fitters out there, because there is. And I would argue as well, golf coaching still is cowboy as well. So I'm not, I'm not saying like the golf coaches are the best and fitters are awful, but I do feel that the fitting side is definitely one of the most undeveloped in knowledge, where coaching definitely wants to push much harder, and undeveloped in trying to give you a better service. And hopefully a few videos that I've done recently and videos like this will help you get smarter as a consumer. But I know I'm going to get hate for that, but I do believe it. Post comments down below, what do you think? Do you think custom fitting is still it's a bit cowboyish, it's just not monitored enough? So I'm hitting my 7 iron, I'm trying to find out the distances, if I can disperse them. Does it sound and feel how I want it to do? Is the grip the right size? Does the shaft feel nice? Remember, I've tried other models and I got similar or decent results and what have you, but this is the one I'm thinking of pulling the trigger on. This is the one. I'm hitting a 7 iron at the moment. It's like I've mishit that one. It's a bad hit, it's straight, still falling into the pile. It's a little bit short, as you'd expect, caught it right out the toe. Things to watch, like does your fitter delete that one or not when comparing to other models, those kind of ideas. You need to be aware what shots are being discounted or counted if you're comparing like for like. That's yes, you need to be aware of that. If I'm hitting this quite solid, normally the consumer would be saying, yeah, it feels nice. I'd be saying, like, could you play with that? Do you feel like something you could game? It absolutely is. Again, hit that nice. You can see the strike, the shape is slightly different to the others, so they're patterns I might want to look at. Now, I've hit 5 shots. I want to hit, say, a minimum of 12 to have a look at some kind of data to see if there's anything in there that we can actually see. So I'm going to continue hitting a few more, and then we'll show you what this data comes out like. Right, 12th shot. You can see from the threads, the streams there, like there's a lot of nice shots in there. You see the grouping on the top right, it's where I'd want it. I'm seeing some speed numbers, some distant numbers that are impressive. Let's show you the data and why I would absolutely buy this Srixon iron based on these numbers. Now I'm expecting to hit it 170 average carry with a standard deviation of 6 yards either side of that. So if I wanted to be pin high and always a bit longer, I might think I'm going to hit that kind of 165 is my yardage, not the average at 170, and then I know I'm going to be more pin high and just beyond. They're kind of ideas you can use. If you're not using those, we'll show you how that could get you in a mess going forward. So see what I mean? Already from the fitting numbers for me, I think there's so much coaching value if the fitter is a coach as well, not just someone trying to get you, I don't know what they're trying to get you. to buy some clubs. I'm back spinning down at 6-1. This is a 7 iron, so outside, inside to outside spin can be around 1,000 revs. I know from this map to outside, so if it might explain that to you, you'd have to go on a basis of trust there. But remember, with certain clubs from the ground, the mat to grass, the spin numbers will change. They won't be what they are in here. So that's something to think about, why your clubs might not work, or they work differently when you get on the course, possibly. So for instance, if I hit a wedge from in here, I get higher spin numbers generally from the mat than I do from the grass, because the pureness of the contact, nothing getting stuck between of the mess outside. Where outside, from a good lie on the grass, the strike tends to be a fraction lower with a medium iron, like a 7 iron. And now I get higher spinning numbers than in the mat, where it generally is precise. I've got a really quite expensive mat in here as well. My turf from Southwest Greens is like the best you can get. No Wentworth use it. I've been on mats like the mat we had in here before. It was much higher on the face. You were in almost like a semi-rough lie, so the spin drops down. These are things you've got to bear in mind when you're going to take this and these ideas onto the course if you want them to work. So 165, 170 is where I'm going to go to the pin. Offline, we're averaging 3.7 right with a standard deviation of 5.6. So you can see the dispersion is nice. It's long left, short right, that kind of standard pattern that you see with better players. One miss hit in there, you can see drops shorter. So arguably I would aim a fraction up the left to move more of these a little bit more centered, or just accept that pattern, aim straight and play, like, you know, bunker up the left, it works, bunker up the right, I'm going to aim left side. These are ideas I can take out onto the course. So yes, I'll buy them, they feel good, the numbers are good, everything was in place. Now I'm going to go and play some holes with them. Let's see what happens. So we're going to start on the third here at Celtic Manor, and one of the main reasons we're going to start here is because of the shape of this green. This green is on an angle to us with a drop off here in the right and short left. I'm going to move the flag to 167. Remember, I was averaging 170 in my test. Now already, remember, we are still inside on the mat. So instantly, if I was to actually drive to this hole and go and play it, there would be added mess. There would be wet ball, dry ball, tees, grass, grit, wind, emotions of me just double bogey in the par 5. I just wanted to birdie, those kind of ideas. So this is still not even close to the mess that you're going to experience from an inside to an outside test. But again, even without that, I think you're going to see the point of how hard it might be to translate numbers to the course. Let's hit a few to this flag. This is like right on the money, isn't it, for what I've just tested. Aim at the flag, it'll just miss short right or right, and we're winning. So I've towed that one, hit that shot when we played when I fitted. We've done quite well. It made it up there on the left side, hit the green. Happy with that. Clubs are working. That was a miss hit, little bit of help. It helped me. Right, there's a draw. Didn't see many of those when I was fitting. Right place to miss this though, we'll take it. So instantly, just in variance of my shot patterns, I've added 2 shots in there that I didn't really see. One that kind of turned a little bit more left, or certainly the last one more than the others, depending on how many shots you hit in your test. So I hit shots testing different clubs, and then I hit 12 more or 20 more. Like, you get to see your variance patterns come out depending on your handicap style. So a good player, variance coming out when we're this tight on data, you're probably up near 100 shots to really start seeing the true variance. If you're someone with big range of variance, like most amateur golfers, not deleting shots, getting left and right, short and long, like, you're going to have to hit a lot of shots to get that variance to really come out in a test. There we go, that was a better hit, little fadey one like I got in the test, landing pin eye. Oh, just off. Again, that was very true to the test. That little leak out to the right, I like that shot, but look what's happening here. Like, I've been to this course. That is not an easy up and down. So look what's happening here. Look, I've hit kind of 1 and just off. I've only hit 1 on the green. And these, like, if we look at the data this way, we're now seeing a bit of an issue, aren't we? We're seeing, and this is 4 shots. So this is me over like 4 weeks of playing this hole, and I've only hit the green once with my brand new irons on this hole. If we look at the data this way though, and we just ignore this column, which wasn't on the original fitting column, 169, 5.5 spin, slightly lower because I hit a few toes. Offline, 2.1 average left. That's that's closer. Look at the average is awful though, because the standard deviation is 13. So 10 right, 11 right, 16 left, 13 left. Looking at averages, which lots of fitters still do, is so dangerous. So these numbers are worse, but look, if you're not looking carefully, or God forbid your fitter's trying to sell you some clubs, bearing in mind, if fitters don't sell clubs, what is their actual job? Let's keep that in mind here. That on course test is showing that iron now, well, I didn't do that well with it. Would I buy that off that? Well, if I now go and test a different club in a different model and I hit 4 on the green, I'm probably going to pick a different club, aren't I? The trouble is the data set is just too messy. It's just too small, too messy. It's not really showing that much, possibly. Let's go do another hole. Right, still happy with my new irons. We've now got 170 so yards out to the 18th at Celtic Manor. And again, the green is set at that kind of slight side angle. You can see it running away here. Long left, short right now doesn't work. Very clever design, look, switches it. So I've hit that solid and good. We're a slight elevation down here, which is why I've moved to the 171. Like, that's just a really good shot. So that on a launch monitor, like, this is the shot that shows it up so well. That is almost an arrow-like for direction. Strike felt pure. God, I seriously need to start looking at the lie of my clubs. That's my distance hitting doing that, people. So that was a plum strike. Look at that. Plum as. Path 1, face 0, lovely. Spin axis of the ball 1.5, so that ball is just arrowing. It's this last shot here, and it's 176. Yeah, it's long. It's spinning at 5.4, which is 6,000, 6.5 out on the course. Perfect. So I'm still on the mat, remember. Offline 1.5. I'm 34 yards, or 34 foot from the pin. That's one of my best inside shots, which actually isn't that close. Like, it's a good 2 putts from there still. Medium strike, but decent, you know, it's decent. That's going to help it be a bit shorter. There you go, there's a good shot. That's why I bought these irons, but look at it rolling on still, because this green is just tough. 16 foot to the pin, which I'd be very happy with on this distance. Again, like, really starting to see the pattern that we saw in the fitting. This is working, loving this. That's a good shot, take that all day long. Look at that, we're really now firing in on the old pin. So that data now starting to show through, much more than the last hole. But is it? Again, this is like another, what's that, 4 or so shots. It's all that's coming through here is my variance. It's me that's showing through. You give me enough goes, gonna hit bad, gonna hit good. It's your expectations of those good and bad from the flat data to the real holes that make such a difference. These shots are in, or would be if I kept hitting in all 3 sets of the data from the range to the other hole to this hole, if you just keep hitting. As well as if I just keep hitting, we're going to start dotting them around all over the place. So if you imagine I've written a round, let's pretend I hit 4 7-irons, the chances of me hitting those 4 are so slim. I'm going to be putting one in here, I'm going to be hitting one here that rolls off, I'm going to hit one really good pull, it hits here, this is a drop off. The point is the expectations built around your variance. When you go for your fittings, things that you need to be thinking about. Once you've done your flat data and you start drilling down into what your choices will be from that flat data, try not to look at just max distance, how much it's spinning. You want to look so much at the variance, at the standard deviations, so much more. How variant is that club? You can really learn from those numbers. So for instance, this hole now, I'm 173 all over water. It's a tough approach. My variance with this iron was relatively tight, so I can take my fitting data and aim at that flag. Hopefully leaking it out to the right, which is away from the water if I get it wrong. And I can use my fitting numbers to play some shots. Now, if I'm hitting into this hole and I tested this club and my variance was just so much greater than what you saw on mine, this is a hole now where I'm going to be aiming at the right-hand bunker, isn't it? So if you want your new clubs to work on the course compared to what you get inside, trying to learn from the session these variance patterns. So rather than just looking at this number and then focusing on this number, you want to start looking at the standard deviation numbers. I mean, I'm standard deviation on those batch of shots of 5 yards, just under, with a 7-iron going average of 171, standard deviation of 3. So that means I can easily hit this 7-iron 165. I'm learning that into my pattern over water or not. You know, I'm going to bear that in mind. Offline, my standard deviation is 5 yards. And again, that's a tiny data set. If we increase that data set out, if I just stand here and hit 100 balls, that's going to be like 12 yards. Now 12 yards hitting into holes with water and pins on the left with bunkers that you don't want to hit. 12 yards is huge. Understanding your variance is how you take your fitting numbers and start applying some reality to your outcome when you get out on the course. The biggest problem is the perception. So on my fitting, I averaged 170, but I was getting some 179. So I'm now 179 out, but I had a big variance and I wasn't afraid to hit a little bit of a quick left. On this hole, it's gonna get you in a lot of trouble. Look at that, it's so bad I've even missed the trouble. You see what I mean? If my variance is in there, in situation, it's gonna punish you. And remember, this is still so controlled what I'm doing here. If we were to do this test from here out onto the course, again, you're gonna see the variance. Increase, don't get sold on longest. Get sold on variance. Learn from your variance, your patterns. Learn from how they feel. Learn from your standard deviations of left and right, short and longs, and apply them. Then the clubs that you buy and you test will be realistically more, and it's almost impossible to translate in here fully to out there, but you'll be closer to translating what you buy inside out onto the course. If this video helps, remember, hit that thumbs up button down there. Let me know that it's helping, and don't be afraid to subscribe to the channel. Post a comment down there as well for me. Do you think custom fitting is still in a cowboy era or not? Let me know down there. I would love to hear your opinions.